What are storylines and feuds in pro wrestling? Welcome back to Pro Wrestling 1, where I teach people what is going on in that ring. And today we're going to be talking all about pro wrestling storylines and feuds. So the whole point of a storyline is basically the entire point of professional wrestling. Yes, we have matches, but the only way you get from match to match and show to show is through a storyline. Now, storylines and feuds are built through a couple of different things. The first and main thing being promos. A promo is when somebody gets into the ring with a microphone and addresses something or somebody. Maybe they just won a title and are addressing the match they just had when they won it and who their future opponent's gonna be. Maybe they got betrayed by a friend and they're talking about that. Now, I really quickly, before we move on, want to talk about the difference between storyline and feuds. Now, they're basically the same thing, but a little bit different. Storylines is practically everything in professional wrestling. Now, feuds is when you have a very intense storyline with somebody. Maybe it's going on for months. Maybe it's being built up to go to a WrestleMania or one of the big 4 PLEs. And speaking of feuds, the next two I want to talk about kind of go hand in hand, and that's betrayals and turns. Now, we talked about this a couple episodes ago when we talked about certain pro wrestling slang terms. One of the ones I talked about is turns, which is when someone either turns babyface or heel. Babyface being the good guy, heel being the bad guy. And the entire point of a storyline and the entire point of professional wrestling is the hero versus the villain. So when someone turns, let's say your best friend turns heel on you, you are no longer friends. Maybe you were a tag team, and now you're going to go into a storyline, which hopefully ends up into a heated feud. Maybe it goes to WrestleMania, like I mentioned. I don't know. Betrayal is practically the same thing. We just use them in different terms. And the final thing is matches. Now, of course, you have to go through promos and storylines to get to these matches. And I actually talked about how matches work a couple episodes ago, so you can go watch that for a refresh. But when you are in a feud or a storyline during a match, you're going to do a lot of different spots, as we like to call them. Little things that allude to maybe a promo that was cut, or I don't know, just really intensifying things. Something else that you might hear a lot is long-term storytelling. Now, this is something we've seen a lot with the Bloodline story. The Bloodline story has been going strong for 5 years. I would say it kind of ended last year, but since they're all family that all wrestles, you can never really say it's over, but I would say like the end was last year. Now, long-term storytelling is when there are callbacks, okay? Sometimes a little thing will happen now, right? And maybe 2 years down the line, they'll do a callback to it and they'll revisit it. And that is considered long-term storytelling. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer. And stay tuned for next week's episode, where we're going to be talking all about the fan experience. Don't forget to celebrate the joy in what you love, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.